Yeah, I found this guy named ICEcold JT, and he intros
Is he
his
ice
videos.
cold?
I don't know. I haven't met him personally, but he's pretty great. I like him a lot,
Okay.
and he's got a video called "Stop Doing This Every Morning," and I think it's pretty great. So let's check it out.
All right. Let's see here.
So it's 4:89 p.m. and you just woke up. Your alarm clock is going crazy, but you still feel mad tired, so you hit the snooze button.
Yo, how often do you guys miss the snooze button when you're trying to like turn it off? Like for me,
All the
it's like
time.
it's like 7 tries before I get it, and I'm like panicking too because like it's kind of loud, and if it's like I can sort of hear it through the walls, and like I don't want to like wake my daughter up before it's like time for her to get up, so I'm just like slamming it, trying to get it down, and it just doesn't work.
You
well.
don't have an Android, right? Or you have an
I do.
Android. See,
Yeah.
if you have like an iPhone, I've just opted, pro tip, just go for the volume button because it's a lot easier to find. Otherwise, yeah, you're tapping on the screen all the time.
5 minutes later, the alarm clock goes off again, my boy, and you hit the snooze button once again. This cycle continues for about 2,000 years until you finally realize that you gotta take a fat, watery piss. Now, instead of getting up to go to pee, you decide to check your notifications real quick. And as you're checking these notifications, all types of information is being shoved inside of your brain. You got text messages for all types of group chats, goofy pictures from Snapchat, cringy memes from Discord, anti-crusty videos from YouTube, and worst of all, bouncy booties from Instagram. Now, we all already know what's about to happen after seeing those squishy circles, especially first thing in the morning when you got that morning Yamato. Ah! And this right here is the worst way to start your morning.
That's actually pretty great. Yeah, I remember back when I was a fapper, I relied on that morning jerk sesh to like get myself going. It was just like kind of like my pre-cup of coffee, where it was just like, I turned on all the neurochemicals and, finally let me get out of bed. It was a nice kind of like boost of endorphin and shame all at once to get me to brave the cold floor and leave that comfortable, warm abode. I think that's actually a pretty good video. Like, the morning time, like whatever you do first thing in the morning, it does sort of set the precedent for the entire day. Like every single day, it's like your brain, not entirely, but at least a little bit, kind of wipes the slate clean. It's like a new land of new opportunity. And if you just like start your morning off poorly, then that's in the back of your brain. It's like, this is the person that I have been today. And it sets the narrative. And if the narrative is, I'm just going to basically be chasing stimulation, running from what I should be doing, and, escaping into fantasy, sexual indulgence, that kind of stuff, then yeah, it's really hard to turn things around and really kick ass for the rest of the day. It's not impossible. I don't want you, in case you had a bad day today, it doesn't mean that you can't have a good second half of the day. But like, in order to do that, you have to create like a frame shift. You have to like actually talk to yourself about, hey, we're changing direction here. Otherwise, you're just most likely going to follow the path that you first started on. And this is why, books like The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod, like things like that, there's such a cultural kind of force for the people who catch on to them and whatnot, because when you get your morning down right, the rest of the day becomes so much easier. Now, some people, I think it's, you got to be careful with what you do with your mornings too, because I think some people, they try and go super, super hardcore on how they do their mornings. Like, all right, I'm going to get up, I'm going to immediately take a cold shower, I'm going to meditate for 3 hours, I'm going to eat a bowl of nails, and then, I'm going to still supposedly somehow have energy to like do the rest of the day. And there is something to be said for getting some hard stuff out of the way first thing in the morning. But it doesn't have to be like that, right? Like, you can do that if you're at the point in your own personal development and self-mastery where that's the right move for you, and you will likely progress toward that point. But not everybody does. Sometimes like it's about making that morning just feel good. I know a number of people who have been very, very, successful and stuff like that. They focus on trying to make their mornings like very, very peaceful. It's like, I'm going to get up and I'm going to put the coffee on and I'm going to, make myself a nice breakfast. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to, read my journal. I'm going to whatever. And that can work too. But I think the real key to it is it's just got to be intentional. It's got to be something in your morning that aligns with the person that you want to be. That's the number one thing that's most important. Because if you, from the very first moment you get up in the morning, you're behaving like someone you want to be, well, then it's easy to keep behaving like that person that you want to be. It's just that when most guys, they don't actually have a plan for what their morning looks like. It's just like, all right, like you said, I'm going to just avoid getting out of bed until either I kind of fap myself out or I just have to piss so bad that I'm forced out. And, I've been there with both of them, but that's not a good way. That's completely unintentional. That's entirely passive. If you're going to take a more active approach, and you got to ask yourself, like, well, how do I actually want to start my day? And it might be different depending upon where you're at in life. Maybe, if you're in a big fitness kick, maybe it is getting up and doing some cardio first thing in the morning. Maybe for some people, it's like, I'm going to get up and meditate. I know for me, for a number of different periods in my life, it was like a get up and immediately go into content creation. Like if I was working on a course or something big like that, that was the best use of my morning, because I would get like, half hour to an hour of really focused content creation done before I did anything else in the day. And then that stuff really kind of added up. So it's just going to depend on where you're at with things in life and just having that vision ahead of time. And if you really want to take it up to the next level and make sure and try and enhance your follow through on this, is the night before you spend some time visualizing what you want to have happen right when you wake up. That time of like maybe setting out your clothes, or maybe it's setting up your workspace, or even just like literally sitting there and then just visualizing what you want yourself to do. If you do that before you go to bed, it primes your brain so that when you wake up, your brain knows what it's supposed to be doing right away, instead of like having to come up with the idea of what you're supposed to do. If you have to create the idea, it's much harder than just having to remember it from the night before. And so, yeah, a little bit of foresight makes those mornings much easier. And yeah,